Okay, we're going to do this on a drive-through basis. I'm not going to walk all the way around this. I already walked around it once and photographed it, and I just want to get it on video. It's the ruins of the original Port of the Island. Well, this is called Port of the Island, not Port of the Islands. Resort and bar, etc. I'm going to let this guy go by so he doesn't jack up what I'm doing. So anyway, did a little bit of research on this last year when we first discovered it. I think when on a Labor Day trip we were able to view this. But this is just an astonishing remains of a million stories. It's an enormous resort. Don't know as much about it as I'm going to later. I should have done more research on it before I came down here, but I didn't. Here we go. Here's the sign: Port of Island Hotel and Bar. So, and as you can see, there's almost, as you will see too in the rest of this video, there's almost no windows that haven't been broken out. There's almost no piece of wall, inside or out, that hasn't been written upon, in some humorous and others downright dangerously absurd and vulgar. But you get a sense of just how big this place was. And they have it back in the back here. They have what appears to be a little annex for extra people, or maybe an apartment people building, or maybe even, I hadn't thought about this till just now, maybe it's for people who worked here. And if you worked here all summer or worked here all season or whatever the case might have been, you might have been provided, accommodations, because we are, even though Naples is growing by leaps and bounds every day, we're still 20 miles away from Naples. There's some of the, we're not going to zero in on it, but some of the more vulgar, dangerous graffiti is back here. But I just think these kind of places always fascinate me in general, but this one in particular, because it's so big and it's so intact, and it was left almost whole. I imagine everything of value has been carted away by some vandal or something, but when you look inside these windows, you can still see the curtains are hanging. So they didn't use Venetian blinds. I didn't think about that till just now either, but that would make it later than what it appears to be. But anyway, there's chairs, tables, mattresses. So I imagine there's desks and mirrors and stuff like that up there too, although probably those got broken. One of my thoughts too when I first found this place last year was it wouldn't do for a homeless person because it's so far away from everywhere else. You couldn't sleep in here and then go beg at night, or rather beg in the daytime and then come back here at night. You're 20 miles from the nearest place, and back then it was probably 40 or 50 miles before everything grew up the way it is. But it just strikes me the lives, the stories, the good, the bad, the ugly, the blood, sweat, and tears, the lives and loves and everything about this place. That this place would have seen over the years, all the families that would have come down here to do whatever families would do in the Everglades. I guess they would take boat excursions. There's an old analog TV, so I guess it's not that old. But it struck me too of how they just left it. I mean, the people who own it just left it. They didn't take anything out of it. It's just gone. They just left. This is a fairly short video too, because it really doesn't take long time to tell this story as far as what you see now. There's a pool on the other side, there's a courtyard over here, but this gives it, I think, a better view. That right there that we're looking at with those pillars sticking out, that was the main lobby, and it extends twice as far on the other side, and what we just saw on the drive-through, it's quite big, quite big. It's not some little random US 19, US 41 type of, you know, just bombed out little hotel that nobody lives in anymore. That all those had their stories as well, of course, but this was enormous. I think that's, for me, what makes it so unique and interesting is that how big it is. And it's huge. It's at least as big, it's probably bigger than where we've been staying down here. Can't wait to learn more about it. I'll post it, what I know about it, what I find out about it in the narration of this, but here we're coming back to the beginning, so we're going to shut her down. There's a table in that window. I think that really is a telling piece of imagery right there. Just somebody would sit there and look out at the sunset and have their conversation while their kids were playing in the pool or whatever. And that's another one for me, is the chandelier. The only reason the chandelier is sitting that far up right now, or still hanging I should say, is because no one's bothered to knock it down because it's so high up. It would take a lot to get up there to do it, and it just wasn't worth it. But that's an excellent piece of imagery as well. And here's a pool over here on the other side of those fences, which we saw earlier, and we're not going to worry about now. But it's an incredible piece of old Florida right there, I think.